MadLab Performance presents The Lab Podcast. Here's your host and chief mad scientist, Dan Gilbert.
Hello and welcome everybody to The Lab. I'm here with Alec Bulat. Alec, how you doing?
What's going on, Dan? How you doing today?
Great, man. Executive producer, as you are.
Yep.
Fitness expert, I'd say as well.
Something like that.
And today, we also have the wolf dog. No explanation needed. Today, we are talking about what?
Group fitness.
Group fitness. That's something that I think almost everybody has either heard about or been involved in if they've been to any commercial gym or even a lot of your boutique gyms. I think that's a good topic.
I think it is too, man. It's as we were talking about before, it feels good to be back on the podcast today, and I'm excited to talk about this topic in particular.
2-week hiatus for you?
Well, I missed one episode. I was out of commission.
Week. Groin injury.
Yes, yeah, that was exactly what
High
happened.
Ankle sprain
from a Zumba class, actually.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's why this topic came about. No, it's
body pump concussion.
Yeah, I've actually done multiple Zumba classes in my life, exclusively off of bets with people. And you know, I'm not gonna lie, man, I had a pretty good time both times.
It's not a bad time. I've done a couple of Zumba classes as well.
The ladies got really mad that I didn't know the choreography like they did, and I was just kind of messing around and having fun.
Oh,
but the best part was the teacher loved me because I was just having fun, and so they see, obviously the instructor sees like the same people every time, so they have like a new person and they're just like, oh my god, this new person, let's put you in the front. And I'm just like, hell yeah, let's put me in the front. I'm going to be the center of attention. And all of the 40, 50, 60-year-old ladies who have been doing this for the last like 5 years of their lives were a little bit disgruntled.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry that's the case.
Yeah.
But glad for the instructor. And I think that is a big part of it because they're trying to recruit more people in their classes. So I'm sure they were very excited to have a new person in there. And some of them get paid more for that as well.
Exactly.
I think that is one of the big positives of group fitness, though.
Yeah.
Is the atmosphere.
Yep.
Right? So if you, I think in fitness, one of the most difficult things, we've talked about this before, is just being motivated. Right? And going into a group fitness class, if you like being around a lot of different people, if you want a high energy environment, then a group fitness class is for you because that's going to motivate you to go, get you doing something. If you're in a gym that offers a lot of different options, sometimes it's nice to just get started with something so that you're more comfortable in other places in the gym. You get to know other people, and that makes it more of kind of like a second home for you, if that makes sense. So I think that is one of the big things that group fitness brings, really no matter what the modality, whether it's your Zumba classes or it's your body pump or it's your yoga or like the hybrids like the Pyos and boot camp and whatever else.
Yeah, booty bar.
So
stuff
booty
like that.
bar, which we'll talk about a lot of those. Today's podcast is brought to you by FNX Fitness. If you're looking for a supplement company that'll help you rise up, look no further than FNX Fitness. With products ranging from recharge to help amp up your workout, restart for your AM protein blend, or rebalance for all of your super green needs, actually. Whether it be gaining muscle or just looking to live a healthier life, FNX will help you get there. For 15% off of all FNX products, use the code, Alec, MadLab, capital M, capital L.
That is correct.
MadLab, yes. For 15% off, put that in your cart at checkout, and that way we can get you closer to all of your nutritional goals.
Today, and you already mentioned one of the positives.
So, positive.
Yes.
Fun. High energy atmosphere.
We're going to try and track the positives and the negatives today. We're going to go through, hopefully, back and forth and see.
Put that one up there, Mike.
Yep.
On the scoreboard.
Put it on the board.
Yeah, on the scoreboard.
Do we have a board?
I don't know.
Do we have a scoreboard?
I just thought I would say that.
Oh, okay.
Well, Mike comes up with so many different things.
I don't know, man.
He's got all sorts of stuff.
Can you put like a graphic that goes by like score 1?
Yeah.
For fun? Oh, did he really?
That's not what I thought.
Wait, Dan and Aleko. I was going to say.
You know, I lost the point today.
Wait, for what?
I don't remember.
This is getting really off topic, but I just want to clarify for everybody. The point system is if Dan does something good or not. And it's really simple. All we do is keep a tally on one of the whiteboards in MadLab.
It's very tiny at the top of one of those.
So nobody accidentally erases it.
That makes sense.
That's why I did
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but why is it? Oh, it's okay. Now it's pro con. Okay, that makes way more sense. All right. So first of the pros, we're going with fun. Yes.
Oh,
yeah. Is that
It'd
what
be
we're
cool if
gonna
it was
do?
like ka-ding to. No, we're not gonna.
Okay, well, it's not. I was about to say we're asking a lot of them.
But that's
already.
pretty impressive.
That is cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Man,
All right,
we're more
for
legit
those
than
of
I
you
thought.
listening, he actually does have a kind of scoreboard up that says pro and con. It says pro 1 and con 0.
This is a reason why you should like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can watch this and see the pros and the cons.
And click the bell. Me and Mike were imitating you today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were sitting. He was sitting in that seat, and he was like, share, and subscribe. Click that bell so you can notify. And I was like, back to you, Dan. So we were like going back and forth, pretending we were you.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, we felt
and you
cool.
even did the promo today as me.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think we just missed you. It was a 2-week hiatus.
I was gonna say it was too long.
Yeah,
I
it was
appreciate
bad.
that. Deep down, that means a lot to me.
There was that
Really hope you know
MCL from Payo. You know, that's what it. You know, you being out for 2 weeks for that. Quick recovery though.
Yeah, exactly. Here I am, already back. Hopefully killing it. So let's go a little bit into. Let's go to our first con of the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Dan, what would you say is one of the biggest cons that you think of when it comes to group fitness?
I think one of the biggest ones would be, what are you working on? So I think that a lot of them work on. There's a ton of volume and conditioning. And I don't know, and we've talked about this in other podcasts too, like you should concentrate on what you're working on. Like they'll say, all right, we're working on endurance, and we're working on your movement, and we're working on your strength. But then they just do a bunch of exercises in a row and have people jump from thing to thing to thing, really high energy. Again, fun atmosphere.
Yeah.
And if you have a great instructor, brings a lot of energy, wakes you up, that's amazing, that's great. But then are you ever concentrating on actual strength?
Yeah.
Are you you're doing some kind of combat class? Are you actually creating power?
Yeah.
And to me, the answer is no, right? Not enough rest. You're tapping in different energy systems. There's too much volume going on. Again, if that's what you're concentrating on, that's fine, but you should know that. And a lot of them advertise other than that.
So con number 1 is going to be specificity or lack of there.
Yeah, I like how you sum that up in just a word.
Yeah, you're welcome, big guy.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's already up there too.
Oh, sweet. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mike,
All right.
man, you're a genius.
I think he just put a number. I think he just upped the tally or just changed it to
Well,
a 1.
let's ask a couple questions. I'm going to do an interview here, one with you, and then by myself too.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alec.
Yes.
Are you able to, from where you are right now, are you able to put a number up there?
No.
Dan, are you able, from where you are, even if you were over there in the chair, could you put a number up there? And the answer is no. I'd say as Dan.
Yeah.
Speaking for myself.
Yeah. So Mike, I guess what he's trying to retroactively do here is give Mike a shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Retroactive. There's no shout out like a retroactive shout out.
Yeah.
There's no compliment like a backhanded compliment.
But it's not the same thing.
And there ain't no bird like a flightless bird.
This podcast is already going really well. I'm a big fan. Okay.
That's good. At least we have
All right.
one.
So yeah, we have one pro and one con. That's
And
all
one
we really
fan,
need.
but
Yeah.
That's okay too.
So let's I'm gonna hit this next pro and
Like a pro.
And I think this kind of goes off of what you're talking about just in the fun, right? But I think as far as like bringing people who would not normally go into the gym for the first time ever, and I would probably classify this as comfortability, right?
Okay.
Right? That group classes offer a certain amount of comfort for people because their friends will have, they'll have done it for a while and they're inviting them in and they get the 3-day trial pass at the corporate gym to go try that Zumba class out. And they're like, oh my God, this is the best time of my life. I just had the best 60 minutes I've had in the last 10 years. Woo, Zumba. I'm just going off of experience. That's accurate though.
Yeah.
They do woo a lot.
There's a lot of wooing.
And so from there, they feel comfortable enough, then they're just like, okay, let's sign up for a membership. Let's get going on that. And that becomes their routine, right? That takes them out of their generic unhealthy lifestyle and plops them into a gym where they're now surrounded by people who, at least want to be healthy, right?
That's true. Now, if you're looking for a social atmosphere, better to be in a Zumba class or a yoga or whatever class it is, exercise class, than at a bar. As much as I love bars, but
yeah, I was gonna say it's different strokes for different folks on that one. I guess
healthier.
Right? Yeah,
we'll say
yes. That
healthier option. Better, I don't know, but healthier for sure.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Let me go ahead and I'm gonna swing at con number 2. Con number 2 is going to be mechanics.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, and if you understand, I know I'm about to say, you already know what I'm going to say. So you could go into any type of strength or like, let's go ahead and say body pump class.
Yeah.
Right. Where they're like, okay, we're going to do Romanian deadlifts. We're going to do blah, blah, blah. We're going to do all of these different motions.
Yeah. RDLs and volume for new people. That's
cool. Exactly. Right. Yeah. So people who have never done these motions before in their life, they're just giving them a bar, giving them, probably only like 45, 50. They always try and scale it to a weight that's, viable for you. But at the end of the day, like these people have no idea how to move half the time. They're just doing whatever they think other people are doing or trying to watch, right? It's like the same thing as somebody going to the gym for the first time ever and just watching everybody around the gym and trying to mimic their workout routine.
Let's do volume lumbar extension.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff is, I'd say, one of the bigger cons. Matter of fact, it's in my previous experience, it's actually one of the main reasons that people have gone from body pump to working with a personal trainer, right? Is because they would find that their technique was awful. They were getting hurt, right, from not having proper technique through motions. And they would be like, hey, I need to find somebody to help me out so that I can continue to do these classes pain-free.
I agree with you, but a little bit of devil's advocate here. So I think that you could still see the same thing even in a lot of personal training. Too. Yeah. So, and I think that maybe the issue is not so much the group class environment, even though you see it a lot in the group fitness classes, like a lot. But maybe it's the way that instructors are developed through their certification, through their gym, through whatever it is, even like through their modality, like even if it's like a body pump class and it's like a Les Mills program or whatever it is. And they're like, all right, here's what you need to do. I think that if the concentration was on some of those things, I think some of those classes could be better. Some of them I do call for whatever back-to-back.
So I'm going to counter-argue your devil's advocate counter-argument.
All right.
So there's 2 specific things that we've already kind of touched on about group classes that are going to make it really, really difficult for people to focus on their technique, right? And that's one, at least if you have a busy class, right? You have a lot of people. Right? That's a ton of people to try and focus on at the same time and to try and adjust their technique and try and make sure that, they're doing correct form for these certain motions, right? These difficult motions at some points.
But wouldn't it be the same difference if you were looking at training a team in a strength conditioning atmosphere?
But don't they have assistants and also much more?
Some of those bigger classes have assistants.
I've never seen an assistant.
It's not common, but it does happen in a lot of commercial gyms. They have they have an instructor and then they have an assistant.
See, I did not know that was a thing. Secondly, counter argument. A lot of those bigger athlete programs have a hard time with technique a lot of the time as well, right?
Yeah.
So,
but I don't though. What I was saying, so I agree with you completely.
Okay.
I think again, if it was the instruction, for example, if you did one of those classes, and you were going up against whoever group fitness instructor, just like we'll just say like your average one, because there are some great ones out there. So I'm not saying there's not some great ones.
Of course.
You would figure out a way. Your exercise selection would be in a way that would get the most bang for your buck without having to instruct so many people on like the finer things going on in exercise, like
finer motor skills.
Right, you're not going to have 25 people power clean. You're not going to have 25 people do like an RDL.
CrossFit.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean it does happen a lot in those boxes, and we've talked about that on a podcast before too.
Yeah.
But again, I think that a lot of times that comes down to the way that people are developed. There are some group fitness classes that don't give you much of a choice, though. Like some of those group fitness classes are like, this week, everyone around the country is doing these exercises, and you don't have a whole lot of choice.
No, there's not a lot of wiggle room at all, man.
But there's a lot of other ones where there's, you can do whatever you want. I used to teach group fitness classes every once in a while because I would jump in at, like, I'd be working at a commercial gym and somebody would be like, this instructor's not here. And I was like, all right, well, I'll go do the class. And I was like, as long as I can do whatever I want. And they'd be like, okay. And then I would go in and I would do whatever I wanted. And it wasn't, it's your selection. You would be able to select that way. And the people, you could also give enough people something easier. And then if you really wanted to, you could cycle more difficult exercises through just a group of 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Does that make sense why everybody else does something easier?
So my second point, though, to what I was going to say as well, I agree with what you're saying, is I just want to clarify that point. But I think that sometimes in group fitness classes, that woo rah rah mentality actually works against them in that same respect, right?
Explain that. I kind of see what you're saying.
Basically, your job is to try and coach these people up, right? And make sure that they're doing these movements well, right? Job number 1.
True.
But you're also trying to keep them amped, trying to keep them going, and oftentimes it's a high intensity class, right? So they're constantly moving, and you're trying to,
that's how it's built.
Exactly. That's how it's built. The music is bumping. They're dancing to their whatever EDM music, and they're doing their thing, right? It's going to be really hard for you to balance, making sure that these people are working on movements well or doing movements well, right? As well as trying to keep the enthusiasm that you're expected to keep, because that's part of the job description.
True,
so you have to be like
much so,
very, very, very high energy and very like woo woo rah rah cheerleader, right? And that sometimes those two worlds don't mesh.
Well, then I wonder. I still think there's a way to do that because I've done it in classes and stuff. You're not going to be able to concentrate again if we look at specificity. That's going to be really hard to do that with that environment. For sure. But if you're just giving a good conditioning class and be able to fix people and fix form and regress and progress, somebody good can do that. I do think that works against it. So I do agree with you. But I think it's just one of those things of fitness where it comes down to the industry has failed some instructors. Certifications have failed some instructors. Because I don't want anybody that's a group and fitness instructor looking at it and be like, oh, wow, I suck. Or like, wow, these people think because I don't think that.
I'm not trying to say that either.
And you only know what you know and like what people have told you.
Yeah.
But I think there should be a big, I just feel like our industry needs to progress faster than it is.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I get what you're saying, because if you look at like certification bodies for group classes, most of the like Les Mills, for instance, stuff like that, like, let's be honest.
A bunch of times.
Let's be honest. Like, they're not giving the same. They're not even doing like NASM level technique work.
No, they're behind on.
Right, they're really behind on teaching their instructors
because why is that?
Because it's mostly about the money.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
It's exclusively about trying to get as many people signed up as possible. They're trying to get as many instructors signed up as possible at the same time, right? Because they're making money off of them. The classes are making money themselves. All of it's
and they don't pay the instructors a whole lot.
No.
So again, I don't fault the.
It's a freaking pyramid scheme, man. It's crazy.
It kind of really is.
Yeah.
So I don't fault the instructors at all.
No.
But I mean, some of them I feel like if you've been in it long enough, you should know to research whatever. Or if like you know better, then you can't just be in it for the money yourself. But I think you're right. I think that is. Yeah. I think that's a major con. And now I almost want to be like.
We need to think of a pro, though.
The business of it.
We need to think of a
kind
pro
of
first.
Screws it up.
Pro first.
Pro comfort, high energy.
We said fun,
inviting.
Fun and comfort.
Oh well, yeah. All right, so I'll say a pro. I'll say that a pro is work rate, so it can get you to do more than you were going to do.
Yeah.
Right. So you could go into the gym, you could be exhausted, and you could go. If you're on your own, you could say, "I'm going to walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes."
Yeah.
Or you're going to walk on it for 30 minutes, and like 5 minutes in, you're like, "F it, I made it here. It's just not happening today. I'm out." Right. You walk in the group fitness class, almost assuredly, your chance of completing that class and like being there longer and working harder than that 5 minutes, 10 minutes on the treadmill has skyrocketed up for sure. So I think that would be a big plus. I also think that in really good group classes, there's stuff that you can take out of it that you wouldn't learn on your own. And it's easier to do that and more affordable because it's included in a lot of gym memberships.
Yeah, exactly.
Than going to get personal training. Not everybody can just get personal training. Some of that's like a car payment.
Yeah.
So
More than a car payment a lot of times.
Yeah, so I would say you get a chance to, I would say a couple pros. So I'm back-to-back pros.
Oh.
I'm going. So I'm going to go work rate.
Mike, are you going to put that on the scoreboard? Back-to-back pros?
I'm going to go work rate.
Should be to 4, I believe, now.
And I'm going to say a chance to learn something. It is 4. It is 4. Yeah. And a chance to learn something that you wouldn't normally learn if done in the right way, which is also important.
So yeah, coming back to one of the cons.
Yes, coming back to one of the cons.
So, but yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it's I think you hit the nail on the head when it comes to like the work rate portion of it. Like that, there's so many people who come into the gym, and especially when they first sign up for their membership. That's why oftentimes when people, I bet you were instructed to do this a lot too. When you were giving tours of the gym, you were definitely told, hey, talk about our group fitness classes.
100%.
People are going to be more interested in joining if they can get hooked on the idea of coming into a group fitness class. It's going to make them feel more comfortable.
Yeah, and a lot of times you wanted to invite them in and take a class like you were saying before, and then sign them up afterwards.
Exactly.
Like that would be like golden.
Oh yeah, we used to do huge essentially like Zoom. I'll use Zumba as an example again because it was so big at the gym that I used to be at.
Yeah.
We'd have like huge Zumba parties where like anybody could just like come in and just do the Zumba class, and just do like a 1-day free trial. And it was a mess. Like honestly, it was a mess, but at the same time, so many people came in, so many people were enthusiastic, and that Zumba class was popping.
If you have everybody dancing at once, like you could have everybody doing group fitness or working out at once, and not everybody is going to necessarily be happy or happy with the person next to them. You have everybody dancing at once. Everybody is happy at the time and with everybody else next to them. Yeah. So it is kind of like a perfect storm. Like if you ever wanted to have anybody sign up for a gym, that would be like if you could do it on the back of a Zumba class or a Zumba party, that'd be the time.
That's the time. And we used to sign up a bunch of people from that. That was the thing.
So we could do a pro for from a business side for gyms.
Yeah.
Right? Without group fitness classes, a lot of those commercial gyms don't exist.
Oh, they would have a much harder time getting people in the door. For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because as you said, otherwise the people, they don't know what they're doing, right? So they're more than likely going to just sit on the treadmill, sit on the Stairmaster, maybe mess around with some machines here or there, but they don't really know what they're doing.
Which is so much more expensive for a gym because then you have to have a bigger cardio area for a smaller member base. Yep. And that's more expensive to maintain. And then also to buy for. Like you have to purchase those machines and have space for those machines. You have to pay rent for
maintenance for the machines.
Yeah. You can fit a bunch of people in a group fitness class and have them all have fun and learn something hopefully through there. So
and those Zumba classes and those like high intensity classes, those 60-minute ones, they are underrated intense. Like, I mean, I remember doing one class a 60-minute one, and I nearly passed out. I was dying. It was
it depends
brutal.
on the instructor too.
Yeah,
because some of them have like they don't just have you like dance and do different. They have you almost do like exercise moves while dancing. So like now squat and jump and turn and step and and now shake.
Yeah,
it's like all right.
Especially my Olympic lifting strength only ass was sitting there trying to do it. Like my first cardio conditioning that I've done in like 2 years, and I'm sitting there dripping sweat from like 20 minutes of Zumba class.
You're no Disco Biscuit.
No, sadly
fine.
not. Yes, of
he'd
course.
be fine. He would just be dancing around, arms out, spinning. A lot of spinning for him.
That's the Disco Biscuit.
Our Disco Biscuit.
I hope people understand that reference at this point.
Our one fan. Or 1 million.
Fan.
Well, didn't we come up with that? We had one fan just a second ago in the middle of the podcast.
Did we?
We said something like that.
Okay,
I said something in the middle of this.
All right, let's go.
I meant 1 million though.
We have 5 pros and 2 cons. This is not what I expected the scoreboard to look like, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, well, we're very positive people. Very positive people.
Yeah. Should we try and be more pessimistic for a second?
I have a couple cons.
Okay.
So do you want to go? You want to go?
Con?
Do you want to go con?
No, you
first?
go. You go.
I would say that I would take I'll take one of the pros and make it a con.
Okay, so don't move it, just add.
Yeah,
Just
so
to
it's like
clarify for Mike.
it's like one of the opposite of Michael Scott sitting there and saying, "Well, you see, my weaknesses are my strengths." So Michael Scott, maybe The Office now will
Sponsor us?
our podcast.
So continuing on with the con.
Sponsored by shows and celebrities, not even by.
No, Mike Tyson's
Well, I
Tiger.
have room for one company, FNX.
Yep.
The rest of them's got to be celebrities, you know? I would say that rate of work can also be like the rate of work and comfort aspect. So if somebody comes in the gym and they get used to group fitness, a lot of times that's all they do.
Yeah.
And they become like kind of like group fitness bunnies, and that's like all they do all week,
yeah.
right? And so then that's a ton of volume, a lot of times on the same exact muscles.
Yep.
So they become overtrained. They start to have some injuries. They usually don't attach them to class. They just attach them to age or something else,
Yep.
or just like whatever else in their life. And then they slowly work themselves straight out of the gym.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot. You see a lot of knees. You see a lot of lower backs.
Yep.
And then depending on the class, you might see a lot of shoulders.
Knees for sure.
Yeah.
Knees were really prevalent, man. Like, because people are, I mean, let's say, yeah, they might not always be deadlifting in their classes, right? But they're bouncing up and down. They're jumping. They're doing all those. They're loading their knees like crazy constantly. Wolf Dog is
Wolf
dying.
Dog, are you okay?
You're right there? Okay, she's good.
Staring at me very intently here.
Well, she was just momentarily dying, so she wanted to see you for the last time.
It's like a little dragon.
She wanted her last vision to be you, Dan.
It's not your last vision. Wolf Dog.
No, she's good.
Wolf Dog will live to at least 400 or 500.
I am going to bounce off of what you were just saying. And
Like
actually,
the disco biscuit.
Yes, like the disco biscuit.
Off a middle school gym wall.
middle school dance. So I'm going to bounce off of yours and say, to that same degree of like just the intensity can also be a fault, right? Because, and this is something that you see a little bit more commonly with like CrossFit, right? Because they have so much more intense movements and way more weight, right? Throwing it around. But something that people may have never heard of, obviously, Dan, you know what rhabdo is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So people oftentimes don't know what rhabdomyolysis is, right? If you don't know what it is, I suggest you look it up. A quick explanation of it is essentially the breakdown of the proteins to the point where you're actually breaking down the myoglobin in your protein cells and they're entering your bloodstream.
And hopefully you get an image.
Cause renal failure. So it could cause death.
Then you pee brown.
You do pee brown.
Yeah.
That's the myoglobin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going through. So basically, this is really common for people who are untrained going into something that's way over their head when it comes to intensity. And that's why it's unfortunately common with CrossFit, is because a lot of people will jump right into really intense CrossFit workouts with weights they shouldn't be doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And, this happens. But also it's unfortunately likely as well for stuff like high intensity interval training courses, body pumps, even Zumba, right? You wouldn't think of it, but it's possible, because if you're deconditioned, like severely deconditioned, and trying to put yourself in a position of trying to be as conditioned as all these other people who are really conditioned, it's just not going to work out like that.
And you have like a fear of failure or embarrassment for quitting a class early.
Yep.
That's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
I think that does happen every once in a while with some of those things too.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate because I think that plus like the lesser extremes of like, just heat exhaustion and just general, like, people just, they are low blood sugar, stuff like that. People have passed out in classes and things like that. These are things I've seen plenty of times, right? Where I have to like run and grab a Gatorade for somebody.
Yeah. Oh man,
who passed out.
I've had that a bunch of times.
Yeah, for group classes specifically. Yep. Yeah.
For all sorts of different things. But
for
group
sure.
classes were definitely one of them.
In the gym, 100%. But
Yeah.
group classes were one that I remember having to go and grab some stuff for people.
I think you also get the opposite effect too. So you have people that come into the gym for the first time, they do a group fitness class, and then they're sore for like 6 days afterwards because they did too much. So they just kind of, even though they didn't injure themselves, they worked themselves right out of the gym.
Yeah.
Didn't end up quitting, not coming back.
Well, they're also like, I hate feeling sore for 6 days straight. That sucks. I don't want to go back.
But you can blame them. There was no slow ramp up period or anything.
Yeah.
They just like went right into it.
And so I think that would be, if I were to encapsulate my fourth con That would be how I would put it, is like there's no build up period, right?
Yeah.
There's not really much of like a
Progressive
introductory, progressive.
anything like that, yeah.
Exactly. It's just kind of
Just
you
overload.
jump right in. Yeah, just overload.
Yeah, not
Pure
progressive at all.
overload.
It's just like, here you go.
Yeah.
No, I would say that too. I'm gonna hit another con.
Ooh, we're about to tie it up. Okay.
Actually, I would say, I don't know where to put this. I have a combination of stuff. So if you could, executive producer, sort out what I'm saying.
So I'm going to sort out your thoughts for
Yes.
you? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
I got
yeah,
this.
yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
Perfect. You're probably used to doing it on a daily at this point. I would say like the marketing aspect of it.
Okay.
So you have classes. The names sometimes are just out of control, and I don't know why you're combining some of the things that you're combining.
Mm-hmm.
Like even stuff like Pio, and like Pilates is great, yoga is great. We're combining them into this class, and you're going to get the benefits of both.
Yeah.
That's difficult. I don't know if there's ever like a Pilates instructor or a yoga instructor that would ever say like the combination is just a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the big ones is also the marketing of how many calories you're burning. Because then you have people that are trying to learn about nutrition, they're trying to learn about health, and you're like, our psychosis class burns 1,200 calories. And like, no, it doesn't. I don't know what you could do in an hour to burn 1,200 calories, but it would be an awful lot, not counting your own, like what you burn at a time. Even then, it's like burning 1,200 calories in an hour is insanity.
So I can compartmentalize your thoughts. I got you, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
Is that it's essentially what you're saying is false advertising.
Yeah. It's
Am I right?
pretty much.
Pretty much?
Yeah, I don't like the false advertising that goes with it. Even when somebody's like, this class burns 700 calories, 600 calories, 500 calories. Like a Zumba class, maybe it burns in an hour like 300 calories.
Yeah.
Maybe, but even then, we don't really know.
I'm about to say there's no real way to track that, right? Accurately.
But people are taking, the problem is like when you say stuff like that, people are taking it and they're plugging it into the stuff like the MyFitnessPals and stuff like that, which are great that they're tracking something. That's amazing. But now they can't understand why they're not getting what they want.
Yeah.
Because their numbers are just completely off. Because you're giving them a number that is not backed by any science at all.
Yep.
You know, it's just a random number.
Yeah. And unfortunately, like that kind of goes along with like, let's say they do plug in 1,200 calories into their MyFitnessPal.
It's
and
like,
that
you
leaves
can eat 4,000 calories today.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, that leaves them with like, they're probably going to think in their head that they need to be eating 800 to 1,000 calories or like all, you know, like just, or not eating, eating too much. It'd be the opposite way.
Yeah.
So they end up eating like 2,600 calories, 2,800, 3,000 calories, thinking that they burned off 1,200 calories.
And then they're going to start gaining weight, and then they're going to then there's going to be a little bit of an episode where they're going to be like, or somebody's going to be like, oh, well, you're gaining muscle. And they're like, all right. And that does happen, obviously. But in this case, they might be gaining muscle, but they're also probably gaining fat too. So then they don't even know after, it takes about a month for them to realize that something that they're doing is not working, and they're still probably not sure as to what it is.
Yeah.
Right? Because they still probably think that class is verse. And then they start to think, maybe it's my genetics or maybe I'm just old.
Yeah.
And that really sucks because then both of those are like give up options.
Yeah.
So that's a huge one for me. I don't like when they say stuff like that. But that could be a lot of fitness modalities too.
I would take it as far as to say that that's probably my biggest gripe. Really, at the end of the day, it boils down to my biggest gripe with the group fitness industry is that the fact that they're marketing, obviously, purely just to make as much money as possible, and they're marketing on people's fears, their insecurities, and stuff that that you shouldn't be doing. And you could probably go ahead and say holistically, a lot of the fitness, the fitness marketing in the entire world is doing that, right?
Yeah.
But group fitness does target that quite a bit, and I do not like that. I've never been a fan of it. They really go off of, they try and suck you in, right? They try and get you in. I think the individual group fitness classes, like with the certain instructors that people really like, that one Zumba class where everybody comes in, they do their thing, they love it, they come 3 times a week. That in itself is awesome. But if you're Les Mills, for instance, again, right, and you're saying that you're going to help people burn this many calories every time they're doing this class 3 times a week, and then you have to do this and this and this and this and this, and it's constantly just paying for this or adding this on or including this or
Even
these
to the
other
instructors,
things.
you're adding like certification that they got to pay for on top of that.
Yeah.
Too, and then that certification has them push something else, and it is like it's a
cycle.
Yeah,
It's a shitty cycle,
as they say.
Well, it's unfortunate because then those instructors also feel the need to push the Les Mills agenda, right? Or body pump agenda or whatever it is. I have no idea what Wolf Dog is doing.
Yeah,
She's freaking out a little bit there.
it's probably hot.
No, there's a fan on, remember?
Yeah, that's right. There's a fan on.
There's a fan on.
That can't be heard over the mics.
No, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
So
I would agree with that for sure.
Okay.
we're all tied up.
We're all tied up.
So I think this is going to be where it gets fun. Is we have to end it with a winner.
I think that instead of declaring a winner, because I don't know if that was the exact idea of the podcast until we started to just have a scoreboard at the top, which I'm glad that we did.
Yeah.
I think that we should let people declare a winner.
Oh,
I think people should comment and declare a winner.
We'll let
That's really what should
the
happen.
people vote.
Yeah, so we did everything we could. We represented the pro side. We represented the con side.
Yeah.
We let the people decide the victor.
I want to point out that I feel very proud of us because it could have been very easy for us to have leaned really hard into cons, but we tried. We did a really good job today of enforcing pros of group classes as well.
True, we did.
Yeah.
We did. And there are pros.
There are pros.
I think those are legitimate pros.
We believe in these pros.
We do.
We wouldn't have put them on the scoreboard if not.
And we've had good times in group fitness classes.
Yeah.
So I've taken all sorts of. I don't even know how many I've taken at this point. I've taken all sorts of modalities. So,
yeah, man. Okay.
Yeah, all
well,
right.
it's up to our lovely subscribers and listeners out there to vote. This will definitely be going up on our social medias. So keep your eye out for that.
Plural.
Yeah. The plurals, because there's multiple of social medias.
But what should they also do with social media, Alec?
Hey guys, make sure that if you like the episode, to like, subscribe, and rate us on all places that you can find podcasts. If you'd like to actually watch us, then make sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And you know what? If you want to consistently get those episodes, just hit that little bell.
Yeah, tiny bell.
The tiny bell. And that's going to give you all the notifications you need so that every time we put an episode out there, that you can listen to it. Back to you, Dan.
I like how you did that, but then I also feel weird. But not as weird as everybody watching this feels.
Probably.
But thank you guys for listening and putting up with us and the Wolf Dog for another episode of The Lab.